Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 3 of the Q&A. So let me get my hat on, and let's get to the first question. All right, what do you think about running 8 weeks of low rep strength work followed up by 8 weeks of higher rep work and repeating the 2 blocks? Deload needed between the blocks. Gaining muscle mass is the goal in this context. Thank you, sir. Okay, question's a little complicated, but truth be told, if you're going to run different blocks of training, there's no need to reinvent the wheel here. The best experts in exercise science who work with lifters found decades ago that 3-week blocks tend to work the best if you're going to swap rep ranges dramatically and you want to put them in different blocks. Why change something that has been proven to work for decades that scientists figured out 30, 40 years ago? There's no need to change it. Do with what we know works best, unless you just want slower gains. I mean, think about it. Why would you experiment something that's already been experimented with in top athletes around the world and say, well, I'm going to go back and do something they tried and found to be less effective just because? You're obviously doing this because you want more gains, so you might as well do what works. Run them in 3-week blocks. Run standard block periodization. It doesn't have to be linear. You can go back and forth between high reps and low reps. It's not a problem. Just do it if that's what you want to do. As far as the deloading component of it goes, that's going to depend on how much you overreach, how you run everything. Some people, depending on how hard you push those blocks, you might want to deload after 2-3 week cycles at 6 weeks. Other people are going to want to deload at 12. I'm going to say, depending upon how you run the program, particularly if you increase the poundages in the second set of blocks, that would probably be what I would recommend, is stepping the weight up, 5% or so between the blocks. So you go high rep, then low rep, then increase the weight, then go high rep, then go low rep again, and run your blocks in that manner. And if you do it that way and you get a good 12 weeks of progression, you can go ahead and deload at the end of the 12 weeks, assuming you pushed everything adequately. But that's just how I would personally do it. That's how I would recommend it. All right, next question. I've been training for a little over a year. So far, I have a 315 bench, a 475 deadlift, and a 275 squat. How the hell is my bench significantly better than my squat, and how do I balance things out? All right, brother, you're in a very unusual situation. The fact that you're benching, claiming 315 after a year of training, I'm not going to call you a liar because I have seen people who have those sort of genetics. A lot of people would hear that and say, oh, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. There's no way. Guys, there are people out there who are like that. You don't know how athletic or active this person was before they got into lifting also. If you had someone who did tons of push-ups or maybe baled hay and stuff for years or did physical labor, they might actually have a really strong chest and triceps. They get into training and that happens. What I think is happening here, I think you have some developmental balance issues due to either being really genetically gifted on certain exercises or because maybe you did a lot of physical activity that wasn't exactly weightlifting, but that developed up certain muscles in your body. A lot of maybe your pulling muscles, your chest, your triceps, arms, things like that from other stuff you could have done in life, or you could just be genetically gifted there. But really, understanding how it happened for someone who has an imbalance in their lifts like that is as important as addressing what can you do about it. You just need to focus on your squats for a while. I mean, honestly, to have even a 300-pound bench press after a year and a 475 deadlift is absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. You should be proud of yourself. You should be very proud of what you achieved there. And rather than worry about those further, say, okay, those are okay. I can let those sit for a little while. You know what? You can stay where you are on those lifts and not progress and come in and focus really, really heavy on your squats. Because I suspect if you can deadlift 475, I promise you that 275 squat, you have the musculature and the strength to get that 275 squat up to a 350 plus really, really fast. You just got to come in and focus on your squats. I might even recommend that you step back and maybe only do some benching and deadlifting once a week and come do like some Bulgarian light style training for your squat. I think if you came in and did that, a little bit of Bulgarian light on that squat, I think your squats would come along real fast. I'd be willing to bet that within 6 months, you'll be squatting 350, 365, something like that with where your other lifts are. If you just came and did like some Bulgarian light on your squats, and it doesn't even have to be every day. It could be as little as 4 or 5 times a week, and I think that will bring that right up, because I promise you, you've got the musculature already there to do that for the most part with what your bench and deadlift are. So that would be my advice to you, brother. All right, next question. If squats and deadlifts are always done first in a workout, can the other muscle groups receive the full stimulation? If deadlifts are not done, the other lifts become easier, or is it the perceived exertion of the muscle that matters? No, there's more than just perceived exertion. And yeah, there is something to be said for these big lifts wearing you down. But here's the thing. They stimulate muscle growth. Meaning, someone says, well, I can't train as hard on all my other lifts after I deadlift. Well, sometimes that can be peripheral nervous system. But let me ask you the question. Do you really think those muscles didn't get some stimulation from the deadlifts already? Do you think that's why they get tired? People don't seem to grasp this, that, there have been studies that show that biceps grow from deadlifts from noob lifters. Noobs can come in and get strong on the deadlift and not do any other exercises, and their biceps grow from it. You got to think about the fact that those two exercises have worked 70 to 80% of the muscle mass in your body already. So yeah, you're going to be fatigued, but you know what? Doesn't mean that you're not getting growth stimulation all through your body, other than just a few muscles being missed, and those muscles are the ones you're going to find you get the best strength in still after doing them. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't worry about it. As long as you're getting bigger and stronger, it shouldn't be a problem. And people worry too much about, well, I've got fatigue from doing this exercise, so I can't fully work this other muscle. Sure, you can fully work it. You can come in and get some metabolic fatigue and everything in it, even if your strength is down. And here's the other thing. If you really and truly feel that you have a body part or a lift that's getting neglected when you're doing full body with squats and deadlifts first, come in and do it beforehand. It's not that hard to do. Come in and do it first. If you feel like your chest and triceps are getting not enough stimulation because the deadlift is fatiguing them so much, why don't you just do your bench press and chest and shoulder work and everything? Do your bench press and your overhead press before you deadlift then. You could come in and do that. If you legitimately feel like they're not growing fast enough because of it, do them first and then do the deadlift after. But just understand that when you fatigued a bunch of the other muscles in your body, your deadlift's going to go down a little bit. But you know what? It still doesn't matter. You're still going to build muscle and strength on the deadlift. People really worry about this stuff way, way more than they need to when it comes to full body training. They really sometimes focus on the fact of, well, this muscle group, that muscle group gets neglected because I'm too tired to train it thoroughly. Come on, guys, that's bullshit. It really is. Just get in and train. And these are programs that full body programs that put size and strength on people before gear was even popular. Some of the biggest men in the world who were drug-free all ran full body programs. It's not that difficult. And like I said, if you really and truly feel like something is being neglected and it needs extra work, then just do it before you deadlift. Problem solved, but just make sure that it really is being neglected and it's not just in your head. And if you really are sure, do it before your deadlift, and that's just an easy solution to it. All right, next question. Hi Jason, love your channel. I understand that there are many, many benefits of compound exercises, and of course you should always include them in a routine. But from a purely hypothetical standpoint, if hypertrophy purposes, could an all-isolation workout cause growth in the muscles trained? Well, stop and think about the question that you just asked. Can muscles grow from isolation work? Meaning, can your biceps grow from doing nothing but curls? Sure. Can your deltoids grow from doing nothing but lateral raises? Of course they can. Of course they can. But here's the question I would ask you. How long do you want to spend in the gym? It's not the issue of compound versus isolation causing more growth. Anyone who really thinks that one or the other automatically causes more growth doesn't understand the stimulation process. You could put on just as much size on an all compound movement program or an all isolation movement program. You could totally do that. But why would you? Meaning, some people respond really well to all compounds. Compounds should always be the basis of your training, but there's no reason to only do all compounds. If you feel you've got a muscle that needs some isolation work, why would you be so dogmatic as to only do compound work, right? Why would you? There's no point to it other than just because you want to for your ego, because you want to be dogmatic. Okay, well that's silly. Same thing with isolation work. Yeah, you could come in and do an all isolation work program and you could stimulate just as much muscle growth. But the question becomes, how many damn exercises and how many hours do you plan on spending in the gym just to be dogmatic and say, I don't want to do compounds? You're not proving anything. Everyone who understands muscle tension and adaptation knows that both methods work. So you're not proving anything. It's not like you're running a grand experiment. This has been done before. But what you would be doing is spending a lot of extra hours in the gym fucking around for no purpose other than just to do it. And so, I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's your life, your time, your body. Do as you please with your life, I would say. But why would anyone do that? The reason compounds are generally better than isolation movements is because they can sometimes work 2 or 3 muscles with one exercise and stimulate just as much growth as if you had done 3 different isolation movements. From a time and an economy perspective, the compounds just make more sense to be your primary focus. And anyone who honestly thinks that curls or chin-ups produce more muscle growth automatically, one or the other, is full of shit. They don't understand the human body. They don't understand training. They both work the biceps. You can build the same size bicep doing chin-ups or curls. Totally can be done. It's just the issue of time economy overall and not coming in and wasting time in the gym when you could get most of your size from compounds and then shore things up with a few isolation movements just to finish some stuff off or hit your weak points. That's generally the best use of your time in the gym. And all isolation routine would just be excessive in terms of time wasted in the gym trying to get the exact same results. It's just kind of silly when you really think about it. It is kind of silly. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.